He's done this before. Zeke Draker, a failed awakener, dies in a losing war. Then he wakes up in his past, back inside the cradle, carrying every memory of a future he lost. Now, he's rewriting history from the first evaluation. You're about to binge *a Dragon Slayer's Peerless Regression *. A guy who literally cannot use magic gets his arm hacked off, a sword through the gut, and dies on the floor. Then he logs into an admin panel run by a dead dragon and rewinds his entire life. On a power scaling channel, that's not a comeback, that's a cheat code with a pulse. We open mid-execution. Somebody yells about the inescapable encirclement, which is a lot of syllables for we have you surrounded. Naming your trap like a boss skill is a soft tell. You only brag about the cage when the guy inside scares you. Now the power read, our man is down an arm and they still can't close the distance clean. He's outnumbered, bleeding, one-handed, and the tone in the room is not, we won. It's please stay in the box, that gap right there, that's your tear gap. Turns out he's the Northern Phantom and he stole a relic the Emperor wanted. Keep the relic in mind, it looks like set dressing right now. It is not set dressing. Whole episode swings on it later. Then the actually interesting question, why is the Northern Phantom faction also chasing the same relic the Emperor's after? A grunt shrugs it off as he's just being annoying. Sir, two superpowers want the same object and your read is vibes. That relic is a top-tier MacGuffin and you know it. The squad decides to torture him for fun before the main force arrives, pay him back for the hardships. Classic mistake, you had a clean kill and traded it for a monologue. On the tier list, I want him to beg is a downgrade from I want him dead. Cut to who this actually is, Zeke Draker, the Draker household's first failed awakener, born into the great Dragon Slayer clan with a body that literally cannot use aura. In a family of knights, he's the one who couldn't turn the power on. So they branded him trash and threw him out. Power scaling wise, he starts at the absolute floor, not weak, not low rank, just null. No aura, no class, no bar to fill. In most stories, that's the tragic backstory. Here it's the setup. So he did the grind, everything he could just to survive. And he clocks a line someone told him, if you don't have strength, you'll have nothing in the end. Then the twist, that line is only ever said by the strong. The weak don't get to philosophize. The weak get trampled by the strong and what belongs to them gets stolen. That is the truth of this world. That's not edgelord filler, that's the ranking system stated out loud. This whole world is a tier list with consequences. Note it down. Back to the present and he accepts it, guess I won't be able to escape. And then, calmly, the sword goes into his stomach. No dramatic music, no last stand. He just takes the hit, which is a weirdly composed way to die for a guy about to break the game. But even dying, he's smug about it. He did steal the relic the Emperor was after. Guess I achieved something after all. And here's your payoff, told you the relic mattered. That theft is the exact thing that's about to trigger everything. That's when a voice cuts in, your strong will can awaken an ancient power. A dragon engraves itself upon the will of the one who persists, so the whole failed awaken a thing. The aura system rejected him. This other, older system had been quietly reading his stat sheet the entire time. Zeke Draker, do you agree? And he's like, I'm hearing random nonsense while I bleed out, sure, do whatever. That's it. That's the consent screen. An irreversible, promised power activates and a countdown starts. Man accepted the most important terms of service of his life by accident. Countdown hits 0, and instead of dying, he opens his eyes, younger. He's back. Full regression, no warning, straight into the past. If you're scoring abilities, undo death and reload an earlier save is roughly the strongest thing a character can have, and he got it for free. He can still feel the sword in his stomach, the phantom pain follows him back. Nice touch, and then he clocks where he is, the cradle, the Draker household's training institution. He's home, the place that threw him out before it threw him out. Quick lore for the scaling, Draker is one of the 3 great transcendent households. Their ancestor Terrican Draker killed the evil dragon Bahamut 1,000 years ago and saved the continent. So we're not talking noble family, we're talking dragon slaying, continent tier bloodline. Every single descendant awakens high-level aura easily and becomes a knight. Everyone, all except Zeke. So imagine being the one blank stat sheet in a family of confirmed S-tiers. That's the humiliation the story's been building, and it's about to get rewritten. Then the voice returns, system is restarting. The soul of the awakener, 100% aligned, received the will of the elder dragon, merged completely. Translation, the dragon god login from his death carried over into the past. He didn't just regress, he regressed with the upgrade installed. You have obtained authority to a part of the system. Note the wording "a part." He's a low-rank administrator, not the whole game, but being any level of admin in a world that runs on a hidden system, that's not a power tier. That's a different category of player entirely. Status window opens, so let's rank the kit. Class, healer, and it's flagged rare. Title, the one who received the blessing of the ancient dragon. Class skills, healing, composed mind, vigor recovery, heightened senses, so the failed knight came back as a support main. Interesting build choice, universe. Combat skills are humble, precise stab and slash at rank key, critical strike at rank D, beginner tier across the board. But then there's a draconian skill, locked, needs 10 karma points to even view. Hold on to that 10. That locked slot is the real ceiling of this character. And here's the genuinely broken part everyone will scroll past. He's back with his skills and his memories from a life he already lived out. Same body reset, but the player knows every future move. I'm in a much more advantageous position. Understatement of the millennium, my guy. There's even a hint of a master, someone who trained him to the verge of death after he became a healer in his past life. So the healing kit isn't a gift, it's earned. That's the difference between a lucky protagonist and a scary one. This power has a history. Then someone knocks Decker, his attendant, and Zeke's nervous, so he just activates composed mind on command. Panic gone instantly. That's the tell of a real power gamer. First thing he does with a system window isn't fight, it's manage his own mental state. Cold. And Deckers hear about the evaluation test, the event Zeke's supposedly not prepared for, which is hilarious because the one guy in the room who's already lived through this exact test is the one they think isn't ready. He's the most prepared person on the continent. So the scaling read for Chapter 1. A null tier reject dies at rock bottom and reloads as a rare class admin with a locked dragon skill and a full memory of the future. My bet, that evaluation test is where he quietly farms his first karma points toward that draconian slot. Tell me I'm wrong in the comments. This kid can't use aura, got humiliated in front of his entire clan last year, and this year he drops the family bully so fast the crowd decides he must be cheating. Welcome back to a Dragon Slayer's Peerless Regression, Chapter 2, and since we rotate the format, today's a prediction episode. I'm treating every single panel as a clue about where this whole thing is headed. First, the setup because it matters. Every Draker gets shipped off at 7 for 5 years of evaluations, swordsmanship, and no rules pancration. And when the narration says no rules, it means kids leave these fights injured or don't leave alive. This is a children's tournament that decides your entire rank in the academy. Today is the pancration, the very last piece of the evaluation. Head instructor Mark tells them to prepare. The kids are all hyped up, and here's the thing to hold on to. This entire system rewards being ruthless as young as possible. Keep that in mind, it comes back around. Then the whispers start. Zeke's here again after the humiliation he ate last year. Direct bloodline, everyone mutters, and every one of them lands on the same verdict, poor guy. So we already know two things: he's highborn and he's the designated punching bag. That contrast is the whole show. The early bouts blur past. One kid gets flattened before he even sets his stance. That fight's already over. And Zeke, watching from the side, drops the line that reframes all of it. He used to be deathly afraid of this when he was young. Now, these guys are nothing. Then the draw comes up and his opponent is Leon Conrad. Zeke's inner voice just goes completely flat. Of course it had to be Leon. Because Leon isn't a random matchup. Zeke realizes his cousin pulled strings behind the scenes to be his opponent every single year, and the household's excuse for it. A true dragon slayer has to overcome dirty tricks. Beautiful, wonderful clan, very nurturing environment for a 12-year-old. And here's the detail I want you to file away. In his past life, the 4 direct bloodline siblings never once got the chance to meet, but the dozen-plus cousins, they lined right up to bully him. He says it like an old scar. That's a prediction seed, we're coming back to it. Leon runs the villain monologue, brave of you to come back and get beat up again. Zeke's response is to quietly activate a class skill, composed mind, and this is my first read of the chapter. This is not a rage arc. He's choosing to be calm. The regressor doesn't fight angry anymore. Leon calls him an inferior piece of trash one more time. Zeke pops critical strike and just punches him mid-sentence. Then his own inner voice, completely deadpan, "Oh, meant to knock him out," that activated when I punched like usual. The instructor's furious. He attacked before the start was called, and Zeke's answer tells you exactly who's living inside this kid's body now, who says ready, set, go on a battlefield. The one who hits first has the advantage. Honestly, he's not wrong. Leon's rattled, what was that, what blood is that? And then he talks himself into the misdirection. He decides Zeke's fists don't actually hurt. If I just keep my guard up, he's no threat at all. Reader, I regret to inform you, he is very much the threat. So the real exchange plays out. Leon dodges the counter, thinks he's got him, dives in for the takedown, and Zeke punches him clean off the chin and slips right out of the grip. His only comment, guess that went a bit overboard. And that's where the crowd cracks. You're telling me this is the combat sense of a 12-year-old. Even Leon's spiraling, is this really the Zeke Draker I knew? And the answer is no, it isn't. That gap right there is the entire premise of the series in one panel. Now the catch nobody in the arena is saying out loud, and it's the reason to actually watch this one. Zeke awakened as a rare class healer, and he's standing there landing assassin-grade precision strikes on a kid who outmuscles him. That mismatch isn't a plot hole, it's the whole hook. His inner monologue is the tell too. How is he so strong when he's this small then? I was able to control my strength this time. Read that again. He's not learning to fight here, he's relearning it. That's muscle memory bleeding in from a whole life he already lived and lost. Then he layers on heightened senses and drops the line that made me actually sit up. This feeling is familiar now that I've gotten used to controlling ether. So the so-called failed awakener can touch ether after all. The regression didn't just save his memories, it fixed the broken body. And he closes it out with precise stab, literally, stab the enemy's weak points for critical damage. After Leon coughs up one last threat, Zeke hands him the single most modern line to ever appear in a fantasy manhwa, mess around and find out. Fight over, he's barely sweating, and instead of celebrating, he turns to the entire crowd that pitied him 5 minutes ago and says, stop staring and come down here if you've got something to say. The bullied kid just opened the floor to the whole academy. Okay, prediction time. Here's where I think all of this is going. 1. The healer class is a disguise, not a ceiling. He's going to keep fighting like a martial monster while everyone writes off the support class, and that becomes his signature. The guy who outdamages you, then heals off whatever you manage to land. Nobody scales him correctly until it's far too late. 2. Remember that locked draconian skill from last chapter, the one that needs 10 karma points to unlock. Watch how he actually wins these fights. Humbling bullies, not killing them, protecting the ones below him. My bet is that karma ticks up through mercy and justice, not through body count. 3, and this is the one I'm most sure about, the real villain isn't Leon. Leon's just a symptom. It's the household, the cousins bullying the failed heir while the elders smile and call it training. Prediction, Zeke doesn't just beat them. He flips the entire succession on its head. And the deep cut I promised you, the 4 direct bloodline siblings who never met in his last life. He said that with real regret, so I think a huge chunk of this run is about reaching them before the clan keeps them apart again. That's the emotional spine hiding under all the punching. And don't lose the bigger board either. The Emperor's stolen relic and the Northern Phantom are still out there, patiently waiting for this kid to grow up. This tournament is the tutorial. So here's my final call. The healer who hits like an assassin ends up the single most dangerous Draker alive. Tell me I'm wrong in the comments. See that scrawny kid getting jumped 2-on-1? One of the guys attacking him grows up to be a warlord that Zeke personally fought in an actual continental war. And right now Zeke's 12, bored, and already 3 moves ahead of both of them. We open on Zeke finally able to think clearly after breaking a sweat, which, if you were here last chapter, is the entire gimmick. His regressed body actually works now. The failed awakener can breathe, baseline miracle, and we're just getting started. Enter cousin number 2. Last chapter it was Leon Conrad rigging the pancration draw to bully Zeke every single year. This chapter, Jake and Vardek would like a turn. The Draker family reunion is just a queue of relatives lining up to lose. Jaken picks Zeke as his pancration opponent, got something to say, just like you said. It's the Manhwa bully starter pack. They always make it personal, they always monologue, and they always regret it. Then Jaken does the thing. You alone are too boring, so he drags Liam Stone in to make it 2-on-1 and calls it, and I'm quoting, a fair fight. 2-on-1, fair. The math is not mathing, my guy. Zeke's response to "are you insulting me?" is a flat of course, dumbass. The healer's got jokes. And notice the flip. Last chapter the whole crowd accused him of cheating. Now he's the one being ganged up on, calling it cheap. Perspective's a funny thing. Now here's the part everyone will skim, so don't. this second fiddle servant kid getting recruited as backup, Liam Stone. In Zeke's past life, he doesn't stay a servant, he becomes the mercenary king. The trope is forgettable side character, and the Manhwa knows it, left behind because he's just a distant relative, begged his way into the academy, Valhalla, ended up in the Night Order instead, then his kingdom barren and falls, and the servant kid goes mercenary. In chaotic times, people flock to the strong. Long tenure becomes a red knight, founds the stone mercenaries. Rule of 3, except the third beat is, and then he united the 3 biggest merc groups on the continent. The nobody becomes the standard. The Empire hires the stone mercenaries. Liam marches into the Continental Wars, and Zeke, fighting alongside the Northerners, faced him as an enemy. So this 12-year-old getting bodied in a school match is a future warlord. Hold on to that, it matters in a sec. And there it is, it can be different this time. The regressor's favorite line, but look closer, he's not thinking about winning the match. He's thinking about the man this kid becomes. That's not a fight plan, that's a recruitment pitch forming, keep it in mind. Head instructor Mark, same guy running the eval last chapter, asks if Zeke's got any last words before the go. He does not. Then, ready, 2 opponents, 1 healer, 0 hesitation. Fights on, 2-on-1. The genre rulebook says the underdog eats a humiliating beating round 1, then powers up. Zeke skipped that arc last chapter, and he is very much skipping it here. Wrong protagonist for the slow burn. He flat refuses to play along with their cheap tricks, which is rich, considering last chapter the entire crowd was convinced his adult mind in a kid body combat sense was the cheap trick. Everyone's cheating until it's you, apparently. Jaken commits to a feint. Zeke reads it, slides right through it, and drops the line. Couldn't even predict that feint. Meanwhile, Jaken is basically confessing to Liam that this is exactly why he wanted backup. Devastating. This is why I told you to come together. Translation: I physically cannot deal with this child by myself. It's 2-on-1, and the 12-year-old rare class healer is the one running the entire fight. Somewhere Leon Conrad is nodding in solidarity. Liam finally clocks it, he's also 12 like us, right? And Zeke's already cataloging him. The problem isn't that Liam's strong, it's the reach. Insane reach. He's scouting a future warlord's weaknesses in real time mid-match. Zeke's read is simple, if he lets that physique swing first, he loses. So he swings first. The whole fight is him quietly solving a math problem that the other 2 don't even realize they're standing inside of. Skill/activated, E-rank, launches a barrage. That's the absolute bottom rung of the skill ladder, and he's using it to outclass 2 opponents at once. The system is barely trying, and honestly, neither is he. He taunts them mid-swing, you must be curious, you've never seen anything like this. Because it's a fighting technique that doesn't exist in the Midlands, where swords dominate. He's not gifted. He's just fighting with knowledge from a life these kids haven't lived yet. But here's the crack in the cool guy armor. His body's a wreck. Same exact problem as last chapter. The mind is an adult. The 12-year-old frame is winded just from this. He's not invincible. He's on a timer, and he knows it. And that monstrous physique. Zeke notes Liam was even more aggressive as the mercenary king. Let that land. He's not really fighting a kid right now. He's fighting the memory of the man this kid is going to grow into. My body's reaching its limit, so instead of trying to outlast them, he pivots. Now I'll see how strong your body really is. Endurance is off the table, so he's about to poke the physique directly and see what it's made of. He lunges and Liam dodges, and you can see the tiny crack in the deadpan because Zeke's actually a little impressed. Everyone here's got some sane sense. High praise from a guy who spent the whole match unimpressed. Class skill heightened senses activated. The healer ability he weaponizes like an assassin, same move as last chapter. And the plan, no matter how strong your body is, you can't do much without oxygen in your brain. He's going for the choke. Liam's entire assessment of Zeke at this point is just this crazy bastard. A 12-year-old is calmly trying to cut the blood flow to his brain in a school evaluation match. Genuinely, that's the correct reaction. 10 out of 10 read, Liam. Then Zeke says the quiet part out loud, I expected at least this much from you. It'll be worth taking you down. He's not sizing up a random classmate anymore. He's grading a future warlord's audition, and Liam passed. And that's the chapter, my call. Liam Stone was never the villain here. It can be different this time was never about the fight. Zeke's already deciding to recruit the man who was his enemy last life. This is a recruitment arc in disguise. Told you the mercenary king mattered. Tell me I'm wrong in the comments. A servant walks in to check this kid's pulse, and inside 30 seconds Zeke has clocked him as a spy, guessed who sent him, and decided to keep him around anyway. Here's my whole read on this chapter. Zeke doesn't win a single fight in it. He wins it by being the only person in the room who knows everything. This is him quietly counting his cards. The servant asks very sweetly if he can check Zeke's pulse. Zeke lets him, and the moment those fingers land, Zeke already knows this isn't a wellness check. Because this guy isn't feeling for a heartbeat, he's checking whether Zeke awakened aura. Normally you just glance at someone's dantian and you're done. This man is doing a full diagnostic, way too thorough for a servant. And Zeke calls it, imbuing someone else with aura this precisely is hard. This isn't kitchen staff. This is a red knight pretending to carry the tea. Quick knight lesson because it pays off in 1 sec. Knights get ranked by martial skill and aura control. And at the very top sits the Black Knight, the ones who transcended their limits, only a handful of those monsters on the whole continent. The mercenary King Liam was one, so was Zeke before he died and rewound. So Zeke's sitting there thinking the obvious thing. Why is someone skilled enough to command troops assigned to babysit a 12-year-old? You don't put a red knight on diaper duty for fun. But here's the part Zeke isn't sweating. There's no way this guy detects his ether. Only 2 people in the entire world can even use it. Remember that the man scanning him is looking for aura in a kid who runs on something that doesn't show up on the scan. The servant, a little unnerved by the kid's new energy, basically asks why he's changed so suddenly. Zeke gives him the coldest possible answer. Your question is wrong, Decker. Then the mission statement, things will change from now on. Things are just going back to their rightful places. All you have to do is follow me, 12 years old, talking like he's already ended and restarted a war, which technically he has. And Decker already prepped the private training room Zeke asked for, which tells Zeke everything. This man is fast, obedient, and watching. So Zeke makes the cold call, keep him close. If someone planted a spy, best place to keep a spy is right next to you where you can feed him what you want. Then the real question, who ordered the surveillance? Zeke rules out his mother's side and lands on the answer that actually matters. It's one of his siblings. The 4 direct bloodline siblings he never even met in his last life. Hold on to that. It's going to matter more than any dungeon. Okay, inventory time. Zeke finally pulls up the system. Low-rank administrator status window, healer, rare class of the ancient dragon, precise stab / critical strike, and that locked draconian skill still glaring at him. And a little win / quietly upgraded to proficient. He used it against Liam last chapter and the system noticed. So yeah, skills level up the more you swing them. This is the part I actually respect. Zeke doesn't fanboy over his cheat power, he interrogates it. What's the difference between a skill and a class skill? Did I always have these? Most regression MCs go new powers, let's go. This guy files a bug report. The draconian skill still locked, still needs 10 karma points. And how do you earn karma? By killing monsters. There's a buffet of them down in the dungeons. Small problem, you need to be at least a purple knight to get into those dungeons. And Zeke is currently a failed awakener that the whole clan thinks can't use aura at all. So the 10 points are locked behind a door he's officially not allowed near. Cool, no pressure. He's more curious about the bigger stuff, why he regressed, what this system even is, how it ties to that ancient relic he stole. Then he shrugs it all off, whatever, as long as it makes me stronger, deeply unbothered, on brand. Now the lore that makes him special. 2 powers in this world. Knights channel aura through the dantian, mages run mana through circles. Opposite ends of the spectrum, awaken one, you can never awaken the other. And Zeke's tragedy is he had neither. Abandoned by his own household as a failure, wandering, until he met a master who taught him healing and the ether hall, a way to handle ether, the raw energy of nature. The clan threw him out. The clan's about to regret that on a historic level. He trains 2 hours and nearly collapses. The 12-year-old body is still trash, same problem from the Liam fight. So he just casts healing and vigor recovery on himself and keeps going. Recovery is a resource now. And here's the callback, this is exactly why he refused to heal himself during the Liam fight. Healing is so rare that using it in public gets you branded an irregular. So he ate the damage, went home, and patched up in private. Told you last chapter that healer class was his best kept secret. He guards it like a state secret. So we time skip, a week goes by and the whole cradle can feel it. Zeke's a completely different person. The kids in the cafeteria are whispering. And the theories are elite. One kid goes, straight-faced, you think he dabbled in black magic. No, buddy. He dabbled in a full memory reset from the future. Close, though. Another one just quietly hopes Zeke humbles the stronger guys, foreshadowing you can taste. Enter the trash. A guy named Owen Zimmons rolls up to needle Zeke over an upcoming swordsmanship duel. Tells him to eat up, real, fake nice, then instantly reveals it's bait when Zeke doesn't flinch. Says Zeke's inferiority complex is showing. The whole crew piles on. He's pathetic with a sword, so weak he needs a custom lightweight blade because the normal ones are too heavy. And Leon, the guy who actually lost to Zeke last chapter, cries that he only lost to luck. Rule of 3, weak, pathetic, and wait. That's the guy who got dismantled on camera calling it luck. And Zeke, who has been quiet this entire chapter, finally speaks. The line, if you really believe a healer beat you by luck, then you people have no right to be knights of the Draker household. That's not a comeback. That's a guy who's already been the strongest man alive telling children they're embarrassing. So that's my case, 0 fights, and it's still the most dangerous chapter because Zeke spent it learning he's watched, figuring out who watches him, and lining up a sword duel where everyone thinks he's helpless. Here's my bet, that duel is where the inferior healer becomes the clan's problem, and I'd put money the sibling who planted that spy is watching it. Tell me I'm wrong in the comments. A kid who can't use aura at all just forced the clan's biggest aura prodigy to break a personal vow and use hers. That's the whole chapter. Let's rank it. Quick setup, this isn't Pancration anymore. Real swords, real duel. The Cradle's swordsmanship match where the skill gap between cadets shows up naked. And right after this comes the blessing rite, the ceremony where Drakers actually awaken their aura. Hold on to that, it matters. Zeke walks out with a claymore roughly the size of a door. The crowd's analysis, does a big sword make him stronger? Genuinely groundbreaking scouting from these people. His opponent's already regretting the draw. I accept your challenge, she says, and then immediately, internally, starts recalibrating. Because this is not the Zeke she knew. Watch her read him in real time. This isn't the Zeke who could barely hold a sword properly. She's trying to explain it away. Did he just get bigger? Is that his aura? And landing on what am I even saying? That confusion, that's a tier mismatch she can't file. And here's who she is. This is Rihanna Tirun, and she is not a background name. One of the Gate Knights, tipped as one of the greatest of the next generation of Drakers. She awakened her aura before the blessing rite even happened. Everyone else is waiting for the ceremony. She skipped the line. But here's the detail everyone skips. She has the aura and she refuses to use it in the Cradle. Says she wants to improve her fundamentals first. She's handicapping herself on purpose. Remember that word, fundamentals, it's the whole fight. So Zeke's own read, a duel against the Lightning Knight is, quote, quite nerve-wracking. From the guy who choked out a future mercenary king last chapter, that's basically a compliment slip. Let me set the board before it moves. On paper, Rihanna's an S-tier talent gliding at maybe C-tier effort. Zeke's the failed awakener the whole clan has slotted at rock bottom. The gap is supposed to be a canyon. Begin, and immediately Zeke clocks it. She's better than expected. No ego, just data. He's not shocked she's good. He's measuring exactly how good. From the stands, don't toy with him. Kill him in one strike, Rihanna. And her inner monologue basically goes, this idiot. Nobody up there understands what they're actually watching. Because it looks like Rihanna's toying with him. That's the misdirection. The crowd sees a prodigy playing with her food. Zeke sees something completely different opening up. Here's the actual power read. Zeke can sense the gaps in her guard, every opening. But every time he moves to punish one, another gap opens somewhere else. She's covering faster than he can exploit. That's the aura tax on him. Raw sense, not enough body to cash it in. And then the read flips into something genuinely unhinged. Zeke goes, this is almost like a training duel, meant for teaching. He's not surviving her. He decided the tier gap is real, so he's using the fight as a lesson for her. His diagnosis of the prodigy, her sword is honest, clean textbook, exactly what you'd expect from someone who awakened early, and that honesty is the exact thing holding her back. The strength is the ceiling. So he decides, casually mid-duel, why don't I help her break out of her shell? A blue-rank healer running coaching drills on the clan's top swordsman. He does not care that this shouldn't be possible. Watch the technique. He drops into an extremely low stance, closes distance, kills her spacing. Because her speed's no joke, as long as there's distance, she reacts to everything. Take the distance away and honest footwork has nowhere to hide. And that's the trap. He's not outspeeding the Lightning Knight, he's outthinking her. Rule of the whole fight, sense beats speed. When you refuse to play at the range, speed wins. Finished, one clean strike lands. The failed awakener puts a hit on the prodigy who awakened aura before anyone else in the room. The crowd's takeaway expected of Riene, she didn't even use her aura as usual. They think she carried herself with pure skill. Cute, they missed it completely. Here's the catch, a plain recap walks right past. As Zeke's attack closed in, Riene used aura. The faintest amount, barely noticeable. The cadets didn't clock it, Zeke did. Now the vow pays off, told you fundamentals mattered. She swore to never use her aura until she got into the academy, and Zeke pressured her hard enough to force that girl's hand. He didn't just hit her, he broke her promise for her. That's the real power scaling. Forget who won the point. A no-aura kid dragging aura out of someone who'd sworn it off, that's not beating her level, that's rewriting her limiter. Cue an angry knight storming in, a sword doesn't stand for such cheap attacks. Shame on you, this isn't what it takes to be a knight. Translation, he can't believe the scum kid won, so it must have been dirty. Want to continue, Zeke offers, and Riene, bless her, goes internal. I didn't lose yet. He only struck me because I let my guard down. The universal sound of a prodigy who just got outread and needs a minute. And that's the note it lands on. Zeke Draker called human scum a few days ago, standing over Riene Tirun. My call, that guard down line is denial. He read her honest sword and beat it clean. But the next time these two cross blades, she stops holding back the aura and he still finds the gap. Tell me I'm wrong in the comments. The family throws a whole ceremony designed to expose this kid as a failure in public, and the system quietly hands him a brand new class instead. This is a prediction episode, so buckle up. Chapter 6 is basically a stack of clues about where this whole thing is going, and I'm calling every one of them. We open on Zeke drinking tea while a classmate loses his entire mind screaming that this bastard beat Riene, and Zeke's just sipping. The man defeats a gate night prodigy and treats it like Tuesday. Iconic behavior, honestly. Cut to somewhere else entirely, two people we haven't met talking about the blessing rite, and one of them is suddenly very curious what kind of awakening the youngest is about to get. Hold onto that curiosity, it's the whole chapter. 1 month later, Zeke's still grinding and he drops the line that made me sit up. He genuinely doesn't understand how he became a red knight in his past life with a body this weak. Prediction number 1, that mystery is the engine of the entire series. Whatever quietly carried him last time is about to happen on purpose this time. Status window check, composed mind became vigor recovery, slash leveled into continuous slash, and he's got swift steps now. The mechanic he spells out, hit expert mastery, the skill ranks up and mastery resets to 0. That's a treadmill designed for infinite scaling. But look what still says 0, karma points. Draconian skill, 10 points, locked, no movement. And you only earn karma killing monsters in dungeons purple knights and above can enter. So here's prediction 2, a dungeon run is coming, and it's coming way sooner than a 12-year-old should be allowed near one. Decker shows up, remember, the Red Knight spy Zeke's deliberately keeping close and says they leave in 2 hours. Zeke says get everything ready. He's feeding the family's own informant a front row seat. That's not naive, that's a man setting a stage. Quick geography because it matters. The family's main residence is the Four Seasons Fortress in the Midland, dead center of the continent. But the blessing rite has to happen at the original main estate in the Duchy of Troy, the Dragon's Nest lair, where the whole Dragon Slayer legend started. And the second he arrives, Zeke clocks it. Every onlooker here is a famous name, the kind you only hear about in stories. This place is crawling with power. Keep that in mind because it means every eye in the building is about to watch him do the thing he's dreading most. His read, whatever the family spies want, once they see him fail his awakening again, they'll just write him off and ignore him. Classic Zeke, planning around being underestimated, and this is where the chapter pulls the rug. Because someone he did not plan for shows up. Why is that bastard here? The panic in his internal voice is real, and if Zeke's rattled, we should be too. Enter Bell Draker, second son of the family. They call him the Lion, they also call him the Butchering Knight. And Bell's opener is loaded, so, what brings you to the blessing rite? Has anyone in this class caught your eye? He's fishing, he knows something changed. This is a Butchering Knight strolling over to make small talk with the family reject, which is exactly the kind of thing that never happens. And Zeke confirms it himself. In his past life, Abel would never have come to see him during the rite. Never. So he asks the question the whole series hinges on, did my actions change the future? Prediction 3, and I'm confident, yes, and Bell is the first domino. One of the 4 estranged siblings just chose to notice him. Zeke's spin on it is pure protagonist brain. If the future's already moving, this might be his chance. Man finds out he's rewriting fate and immediately treats it as an opportunity. No panic, just leverage. Then the rite begins and the chapter finally explains what this ceremony actually is, and it's wild. Every Draker bloodline member graduates the cradle at 12 and awakens, which for normal knights takes until you're 20. These kids are on fast forward. And the rare ones awaken the Dragonslayer trait, mana inhibition. It makes them at least as strong as yellow knights, some rivaling red and black. The catch, the inhibition is so intense they need special family-made gloves just to live a normal life. Their own power is a hazard. Prove pure blood, get the Draker name, and unlock unimaginable family support and countless benefits. So the stakes are naked now. This ceremony decides whether Zeke is family or furniture, and everyone here already voted furniture. Zeke steps up to the statue and the past comes flooding back. Last time was horrible, he failed, walked away with a shameful title, the failed awakener stamp that defined his whole first life. He's standing in front of the same cursed bronze statue. This is the exact scene that broke him before. But he tells himself this time is different. He can heal, he can manipulate ether, powers only 2 people in the world have, and this time he didn't surrender, he stood up for himself by his own will. It's a genuinely earned little speech, very cool, very hopeful. So he touches it, calls out the damned bronze statue like a man about to collect, and nothing. Silence, I knew it, failed to awaken again. And here's the rule of 3, he was humiliated, he prepared, he did everything right, and the statue still says no. He even beats himself up, thanks to beating Rihanna he got too confident, and the crowd, vicious. Even the family head's blood wasn't enough for the cursed blood. How did he beat Rihanna? Must have been a trick, embarrassment to the family. These people never miss a chance to kick him. And this is the misdirection. The chapter lets you fully believe he failed, lets the crowd gloat, lets Zeke give up, and then a system message cuts in. Sorry, Zeke Draker, due to a processing error, a message got delayed. Necessary information was missing from the identification terminal, so the class info gets input using the system's authority. His authority, that admin power from Chapter 1, just reached into the sacred family ritual and started editing the results in real time. Terminal identifies the talent, healer, confirmed rare class, and then the lamps that were dead a second ago flood the whole hall, red lights, red blood awakening. The exact tier they said rivals red and black knights, in front of every famous name and every family spy. Then the terminal makes a connection and the ancient dragon's blessing sealed in his soul activates. The talent of kin, fighter's blood, awakens. Remember, he awakened as a healer. Now a second combat talent is stacking on top of it live. Final message, talents combined. Of 2 rare talents, a new class has been created. A brand new class has been awakened. A healer who fights like an assassin isn't just fluff anymore. The system literally forged him a custom class out of both. So here's the analysis. This new fused class is the answer to how he became a red knight last time, except last time it took years, and this time the system just handed it to him at 12. The scaling curve just went vertical. My predictions for where this goes. Bell showing up means the siblings start circling now. The fused class points straight at that purple knight dungeon run to farm karma and crack the draconian skill, and every spy who just watched red light fill that hall is about to send home a very different report. The kid they came to ignore just became the most interesting person in the family. Tell me I'm wrong in the comments. The kid everyone wrote off as a failed awakener glows gold, quietly logs in as the only immortal class alive, and breaks a sacred family relic just by standing in front of it. And not one person in that room catches any of it. This is a callback episode, so buckle up. Half of Chapter 7 only lands if you remember the last 6. Deep breath. Remember Chapter 6, where the rite is supposed to trigger the Dragonslayer trait, mana inhibition. Watch the room instead. The mana lamp stays lit, the sword statue reads fine, and everyone's whispering that this can't possibly be a real pure-blood awakening. They're right that something's off. They have no idea how off. Then the head instructor strolls in, genuinely baffled why everyone looks like a funeral. We got 2 pure-blood awakenings in one batch. This is a celebration. It's the classic Manhwa beat. The entire authority in the room confidently misreads the exact second the protagonist breaks the game wide open. Cue the gushing and someone gets told to go fetch a glove for the newest member. Hold onto that glove. I mean it, file it away. It's about to matter way more than anyone raising a toast at this party could guess. And who's quietly pulling strings to get him placed? Bell Draker. Yeah, the lion, the butchering knight, the estranged second son who first clocked Zeke back in chapter 6. Last time Zeke barely registered to this family. This time a warlord's already leaning in. He's rewriting a future he already lived through. The rite gets declared over, party incoming, everyone please enjoy yourselves. In basically any other regression story, this is the warm little reward scene where the MC finally gets his flowers. Zeke is already scanning the room for the nearest exit. Because instead of cake, our boy is hunting for a training room. Direct callback to that 1 month grind in chapter 6. Composed mind became vigor recovery, / became continuous / he picked up swift steps. The man simply does not do downtime. Party's on, he wants a punching bag. But Bell intercepts him leaving early, making contact with me this soon, and Zeke's inner monologue instantly flips into a full threat assessment. Where every other newbie would be starstruck to get noticed by the family's monster, Zeke's treating it like an ambush, because to him it kind of is. And what's the ambush? A handshake, a handshake. Zeke reacts like a blade got pulled at the dinner table. My hostility toward him will be shown, so let's play along for now. This is a 12-year-old speedrunning office politics with a man who butchers people for a living. For the sake of saving face, he shakes the scum's hand, then dryly downgrades it to "I'll settle for having seen your face." That's it. That's a man politely filing away a grudge for later, with a smile on, deadpan pettiness and honestly, respect. We will see each other again. In this genre, that line's a promise with a body count attached, and here's the flip. Zeke's the one making the threat now, not receiving it. Compare chapter 2, where the cousins rigged draws to hunt him every year, the praise doing the stalking this time. Back at the adults' table, they're chewing on it. The golden light was quite shocking. First time it's ever happened. Oh, and he failed to awaken at first. Everyone in that room still has him filed as the chapter 1 failure who couldn't touch aura. Keep thinking that, please. It's working out great for him. Here comes the lore that decodes it. Pureblood awakenings carry mana inhibition, living proof you stand against dragons, the source of all mana. And because the machines run on mana, a pureblood literally can't touch anything without the house's gloves. So, that glove they fetched earlier, feeling relevant yet. He peels the glove off, opens the status window, and okay, I need a second. Class, immortal, unique. A month ago this thing said rare healer. New skills stacked on, mana reflection and mass buff, both A rank out of nowhere. And current karma points, 100, from a kid who supposedly failed. And here's the trick that fooled the whole clan. It was never mana inhibition. It's mana reflection, a distortion field that nullifies mana around him. The tell is beautiful. Inhibition's a passive, so it'd kill the lamps. Reflection's a skill, so the lamps read normal. He walked in undetectable and nobody clocked why. Sit with the scaling for a sec. 2 chapters ago he was a rare class healer fighting like an assassin. Now the system quietly stamps him unique. The genre rulebook says healers are the support role, stand in back, top people up. This one's a straight-up category, error the world doesn't have a slot for. The flashback hands us the perfect comparison. Every graduate awakened with a plain blue aura. Only Riene chapter 5's honest textbook swordsman prodigy flashed red for pure blood. And here's the kicker, Zeke went red first too, then it turned gold. Same start as Riene, wildly different finish. Now the catch everyone skips, the reason to watch this one. The bronze classification statue is broken. It lost the data for class ages ago, so red never actually meant pure blood. Red means rare class. The Drakers have been misreading their own holy relic for generations and calling it tradition. An ancient relic from before Terrakin, the Draker founder himself, and not one single family head across the whole line ever noticed it's been feeding them garbage. Zeke, with his admin authority, reads the actual truth in about 10 seconds flat. Told you the moment they fetched that glove would matter. The whole chapter hinges on a broken statue nobody questioned. Then the part that genuinely made me lean in, 100 karma points. In chapter 4, the system explained karma only drops from monsters in high-tier dungeons, Purple Knight and above, and his was locked flat at 0. He hasn't fought a single dungeon monster, so where does a fresh 100 come from? Hold that thought. He spends 10 to peek at the draconian tree, dropping to 90. The menu, Dragon Eyes, 20 points, Might of the Dragon, 30, and then Devour, sitting at a lordly 50. Devour, 50 points, description, eat and digest a lot. The 2 literal combat god abilities are cheaper than the skill that lets you have a big lunch. Zeke's confused little face asking why this costs so much is exactly the face I made, nature's most expensive appetite. So he sensibly skips the mystery buffet and grabs the 2 obvious winners, Dragon Eyes and Might of the Dragon. and might, which forces enemies to surrender to your aura, he immediately notes is way too dangerous to just fire off at a family garden party. Cool guy doesn't detonate the room. He activates Dragon Eyes, expecting basically nothing, then a statue clear across the garden snaps up like it's an inch from his nose. Free recon that flat out ignores distance. Classic overpowered vision trope, and he clocks it as useful in half a second. No wide-eyed what is this power monologue required. Then it over-delivers straight into comedy. Detailed info, a stand from Mycenae, a desk made of olive wood, a drawer from the Merc Empire, a carpet from the Rauman Empire. He wanted a threat scan. The ancient dragon handed him an antiques appraisal, riveting reconnaissance on the furniture. And immediately his body folds, ugh, because raw draconian skills clearly demand more than a 12-year-old frame can pay out. Same wall as Chapter 3, when his weak little body capped out mid-choke against Liam. New god-tier powers, same fragile hardware. The regressor tax is real. Then, completely unasked, healing factor and vigor recovery auto-fire to patch him, and the notification drops that his class skills just converted to passive and leveled up by 1. That's the actual build right there. The healer half auto-repairing the glass cannon half in real time. Support and assassin in one body. And the system's quick to check the hype. Healing isn't something you can spam, and the effects are hard-capped, which is genuinely rare. Most regression stories hand the MC infinite healing and never mention a cost. This one looks its own power in the eye and says, yeah, limited, refreshing honesty. He shrugs the whole overload off, already wondering if the academy takes 5 years to finish, planning the next arc while the party's still going behind him. Here's my bet, that Mystery 100 karma traces straight back to the relic he stole from the Emperor in Chapter 1, and Bell's little handshake is move 1 in a war Zeke already lost once. Tell me I'm wrong in the comments.